Have you ever received a message out of the blue from someone you thought had vanished forever? That short, unexpected text can make your heart sink and fling you back into old memories. It's not an apology, nor a genuine regret. It's a covert test to gauge how much you still burn, how deeply you still hurt. In today's video, we won't just uncover why most people react impulsively and surrender their emotional power. We'll learn a powerful method to break the chase-retreat cycle and instead reclaim your inner peace. Picture yourself standing on a stormy shore, every surprise message a wave crashing on the sand. You can run after each wave, or you can stand tall like a lighthouse, anchored on the rocks. The approach I'm about to share will turn you into that lighthouse. No rushed replies, no lengthy explanations, no clinging to the illusion of changing them. Instead, you'll learn to delay your responses so they feel the void they created, reply neutrally to regain your power, and use strategic silence to force them to confront their true choice. If you're tired of the chase-retreat cycle and crave an exit, hit subscribe and turn on notifications now. By the end of this video, I'll walk you through simple, actionable steps that will help you stop spiraling in anxiety and awaken the inner strength you already possess. Don't miss the chance to transform every unexpected ping into a step toward rediscovering yourself. Watch through to the end, and you'll realize stopping the chase is the beginning of freedom. Before diving into the tactics that transform you into an unmoving lighthouse amid emotional storms, let's reflect on a vivid example of the consequences of relentless chasing. Many of us believe that the harder we try to hold on, the stronger love will grow. The reality is exactly the opposite. The chase-retreat cycle not only drains your energy but gradually erodes your very identity. To see just how tragic this pattern can be, let's hear the story of Helena Monroe, once celebrated for her glory and passion, yet ultimately losing herself in the shadow of endless pursuit. Helena Monroe was once the emblem of dazzling beauty and radiant fame. Yet behind the theater lights lay a heart perpetually yearning for acceptance. Her first marriage was to Jonathan Devereux, a celebrated athlete whose cool detachment soon overshadowed his initial fascination with Helena's refined charm. He loved her brilliance but recoiled as her success and independence grew too threatening. He retreated incrementally, like a hunter withdrawing his claws when prey seems irretrievably free. Helena, terrified of losing him, plunged headlong into the chase-retreat vortex, pursuing his every move, molding herself to his desires, suppressing her most vibrant qualities to find safety in his embrace. But every attempt drew him further away. Each time Helena reached out, Jonathan receded to the horizon's edge, leaving her in a swirl of loneliness, confusion, and heartbreak. Broken by that failure, Helena sought refuge in her second marriage to Arthur Millwood, a literary genius whom she believed would offer the security of soulful understanding. She convinced herself that love built on poetic lines would endure. Yet Arthur, for all his eloquence, could not transcend his avoidant wiring. When Helena discovered his private journal entries veiled criticisms of her emotional volatility, old wounds reopened. Instead of dignified withdrawal, she clung more desperately, convinced that sheer perseverance would finally bridge their divide. The result was escalating panic and insecurity, driving her to rely on sedatives and alcohol to silence the torment of a love unreturned. These two unions forged an endless wheel from which Helena could not break free. She would chase, they would pull away. When they pulled away, she panicked and then chased harder. Each turn cost her a piece of her identity until one day she no longer recognized the woman in the mirror. Despite possessing everything, beauty, fame, adulation, Helena found no sanctuary. Ultimately, after 8 years enmeshed in heartbreak, she collapsed under the weight of solitude, leaving behind a luminous yet tragic legacy. Her story starkly warns that chasing never closes the gap. It merely traps the heart in a labyrinth without escape, where both dignity and self are gradually eroded until they shatter. When you enter a relationship with an avoidant partner, you quickly realize you're stepping into an endless spiral. You chase, they pull away, you panic, then you chase harder. At first glance, these seem like natural reactions of a heart terrified of loss, but upon closer inspection, each phase carves deeper scars in your soul. Initially, you pursue them with warm messages, spontaneous calls, and caring check-ins, hoping persistence will prompt them to open up. They retreat slightly, not with hostility, but enough to leave you puzzled. What just happened? Their responses grow cooler, schedules busier, or they reply with terse, detached words. As that distance stretches, anxiety begins to surge. You replay every conversation, questioning what misstep caused their withdrawal. Your faith wavers, and you tumble into a panic. Every thought weighs on the balance, fearing that if you don't act immediately, you'll lose them forever. This emotion is so intense that nights become sleepless as you scour for any sign, no matter how small. From that panic, you hurl yourself into chase harder a second, third pursuit with ever greater intensity. You try everything to pull them back, writing poems, giving gifts, doing anything to stay close, nearly forgetting who you are. Yet instead of drawing them closer, they pull further away, because deep within, any sign of attachment registers as a threat to their freedom and emotional safety. Each rotation further drains your spirit. It's not just about feeling lost in the relationship, but watching your self-confidence and self-worth ebb away. You realize you're no longer in control of your emotions, but a victim of a tug-of-war between closeness and withdrawal. The most dangerous truth is that you're the one who breaks first. They can exit the game at will, leaving without a goodbye, while you feel compelled to keep chasing until exhaustion sets in. During these pursuits, you become physically weary, sleepless, losing appetite, sometimes even depressed, yet mental fatigue is even more profound. Every failed chase doubles the pain, leading to utter confusion. Should I keep trying? Fearing loss stops you from letting go. This cycle is a cunning trap, because you assume chasing proves love, when in fact it only plunges you deeper into your own tragedy. If you fail to recognize and escape this pattern, you'll remain trapped in the chase-retreat loop until you have no strength left to continue. The solution isn't chasing more, it's stopping. Stop all attempts to cling, step back to rediscover yourself, and set boundaries to protect your heart. By understanding the true nature of chase, pull away, panic, chase harder, you realize the harsh truth. You are the one suffering the greatest damage. Once you've identified the chase-retreat trap draining your spirit, it's time for a courageous pivot. Relinquish the duty to rescue the avoidant partner and let them face the consequences of their withdrawal. This isn't a selfish command, but a mantra to reclaim your inner balance. It's okay to let them fail. During your endless pursuit, you inadvertently assumed the parent role, shouldering not only your partner's emotional load, but bearing all fallout from their avoidant behavior. Whenever they withdrew, you bridged the silence with messages, calls, and self-promises to comfort and shield them from anger or fear. Yet this only short-circuited their self-protection, preventing them from ever feeling the pressure of avoidance and learning accountability. They remained safe while you wore thin. Now, imagine a different approach. Instead of rushing in every time they withdraw, you pause. When they retreat, you don't smash the silence, you cling to the mantra, "It's okay to let them fail." You recognize that true maturity means accepting that each person must bear the outcomes of their choices. Like a stationary lighthouse, you don't throw a lifeline each time their ship drifts, but you shine a steady light to guide them back. To translate this mantra into action, apply 3 steps. Spot the rescue impulse. When they go quiet or manufacture drama, notice the urge to rescue texts of reassurance, soothing their anger. Step 1 is observation. In this moment, what rescue impulse am I feeling? This awareness stops the reflexive plunge. Endure their anger and disappointment. When you withhold rescue, the avoidant instantly feels the void. They may lash out with silence or cold words, accustomed to being protected. Endure these emotions with compassion, but without stepping in. You're allowing them to face consequences and confront their own fear of abandonment. Hold firm boundaries with compassion. It's okay to let them fail isn't an excuse to go cold or uncaring. You can still show concern within set boundaries. I won't reply immediately, but I care. I'll listen when you're ready to share. These boundaries keep you out of the endless parent-child dynamic while upholding an open heart. Embracing this mantra brings encouragement as you free yourself from overburdened rescue duty and reassurance that your avoidant partner now has a chance to learn responsibility. When they truly fail, be it extended silence, acute loneliness, or loss of the safety net you provided, they will be prompted to seek a different doorway, the one leading to mutual respect and genuine connection. The key is maintaining the mantra even when anxiety surges. Each refusal to rescue cultivates strength, the strength of someone who loves without losing themselves. This is the crucial stepping stone to break free from the chase-retreat cycle and move toward a healthier relationship founded on freedom and mutual worth. After embracing the mantra, "It's okay to let them fail," and allowing your avoidant partner to face the repercussions of their withdrawal, you'll encounter another subtle but destructive pattern, the mothering effect, where you inadvertently shift from partner to parent of the avoidant. Instead of mutual understanding and shared emotional labor, your relationship becomes an endless cycle of rescue, with you bearing the full emotional burden so that they never feel any pressure. Specifically, every time they go silent or manufacture drama, you rush in to mediate, you explain on their behalf, apologize for them, comfort them, and promise to smooth things over. You constantly remind them of past promises, call to ensure they're eating well, and check if they're tired. Gradually, they stop owning their feelings and actions and come to rely on you as a safety net. From their perspective, you become the sole source of safety. They withdraw at will, only to return the moment you appear. But for you, this dynamic is suffocating. You spend most of your energy in the caretaker role, while your own needs and boundaries vanish into obscurity. Each phone ring triggers the thought, "What crisis do I need to fix now?" Over time, frustration and anger build as you realize you've lost yourself in the process. This anger isn't solely aimed at them, but also at yourself for falling into the unwilling parent trap. You feel disappointed discovering that you've willingly become the sole emotional anchor, while they remain passive recipients of care. Every act of rescue, instead of fostering closeness, reinforces their dependency and perpetuates the relentless chase-retreat cycle. According to attachment theory, the mothering effect prevents avoidant individuals from learning responsibility and emotional self-regulation, while casting you as their only provider of security. Consequently, you endure a double pain. First, from their constant withdrawal, and second, from having to shoulder that emotional load yourself. This second pain is seldom discussed, yet it quietly erodes your self-esteem and confidence. To break free from the mothering effect, you must immediately stop excessive rescue behaviors. When they stumble, refrain from stepping in to fix everything. Allow them to face consequences and learn self-reliance, even if it triggers their disappointment and anger. You can still show concern, but as a friend or equal partner, not as a parent. You listen when they choose to share. You support them without absorbing their entire emotional labor. Initially, this shift will elicit anger and disappointment, clear signs you're waking up to the caregiver trap and reclaiming your own well-being. By refusing to constantly rescue, your avoidant partner loses their permanent safety net, allowing the destructive chase-retreat cycle to be disrupted. Remember, the parent role is not yours. You deserve respect, equal emotional exchange, and your own needs and boundaries honored. When you stand firm in setting limits, not abandoning compassion, but loving without self-sacrifice, you liberate yourself from the misguided role of rescuer. This is the essential first step toward a healthier, fairer, and more sustainable relationship. After realizing you no longer play the parent role and embracing the mantra, "It's okay to let them fail," you enter a new phase, becoming a lighthouse instead of a hopeless tugboat. Rather than circling them amid the emotional storm, you stand firm in one place, casting a steady light that guides without getting pulled into the chaos. A lighthouse does not move. It does not chase each wave. It simply holds its ground on the rock and emits unwavering light so that any lost ship can identify the safe path. Similarly, when you become the lighthouse in your relationship, you reaffirm your own value. You do not sprint after every outburst, every withdrawal. You remain calm, and the inner light within you does not dim. When your avoidant partner faces a moment of solitude amid the storm, they will sense that light. The first time, they might overlook it. The second, they become unsettled. But when the light remains steadfast through every crashing wave, they will realize there is no one else but you standing firm. Not for them to lean on, but for them to find the safe route on their own when they are ready. As a lighthouse, you still care but do not rush to rescue. You listen when they share, but you don't drag them out of the tempest. When they feel anxious, you do not respond by matching their chase. You emit the light of composure, prompting them to navigate their own course. That light represents your consistency, self-respect, and the boundaries you uphold. You need not flaunt emotions, simply remain a beacon of safety for yourself. Transitioning into a lighthouse means you stop the futile chase, end the mothering effect, and accept that love is not a race. You do not avoid emotions, yet you refuse to be driven by them. Each time your avoidant partner returns, instead of rushing to embrace them, you maintain your light. I'm here, I'm okay. This is the most powerful message. You do not vanish, you are unshaken. You no longer need to test them. When your light shines brightly, your avoidant partner no longer sees a ship endlessly circling. They see a steadfast lighthouse. They may drift away, but the light leads them back if they choose to return. The lighthouse concept is not a manipulation tactic, but a commitment to yourself. Commit to preserving your value and inner peace, no matter life's storms. By living as a lighthouse, you offer your avoidant partner a chance to grow not by being towed back, but by finding their own way within the light that you sustain. Once you shift into the steadfast lighthouse role, no longer sprinting after every wave of emotion, a profound change occurs in your avoidant partner's psyche. Rather than manipulating through distance, they confront your silence as an undeniable challenge. When you stop chasing, they abruptly lose their safety anchor. The very storm they created intensifies, for there is no tugboat at hand to rescue them. In the early days, the avoidant may relish a temporary sense of freedom, no longer worried about your next text or call urging connection. Yet that freedom swiftly turns into disorientation as the loneliness storm ravages their soul. With no one to calm the winds, no one to guide them, they find themselves adrift in an endless sea, unsure where the shore might lie. This moment is precisely when the light of your lighthouse shines its greatest power. They realize they can no longer remain lost in withdrawal and avoidance. Unless they navigate back on their own, they will truly stray. A flicker of fear ignites as darkness falls. Every cold gust reminds them they should have held on to genuine connection. Thus, instead of engineering new dramas to lure you back, they are compelled to face themselves, listening to the silent bell tolling within, acknowledging the value of the steady light you maintain. And when they decide to find their way home, they don't approach you with shallow apologies, but move toward your beacon with humility and a genuine desire for connection. At that moment, you witness the true power of holding your ground and the strength of intentional silence. Silence ceases to be a weapon and becomes a guiding thread. The avoidant can no longer hide behind their protective cloak. They accept the very loneliness they once orchestrated, and in doing so, awaken a longing for safety and sincerity. The ultimate outcome of this approach is not merely an avoidant partner's return, but, more importantly, a relationship rebuilt on voluntary engagement rather than coercion. You not only safeguard your own peace, but also create the space for both of you to build a healthy bond, one where both parties recognize the value of the lighthouse's light and no longer lose their way amidst the storm. When you begin your strategic silence, the greatest challenge often isn't the fear they won't come back, but the subtle whisper in your heart. What if they leave me? This feeling is entirely natural after all. You've been conditioned to rescue them. But according to Erica Kazar, a leading expert on attachment theory, that fear of abandonment is rooted in the avoidant attachment patterns formed in early childhood. Kazar explains that individuals with avoidant attachment typically grow up without a stable, emotional anchor. Between birth and age 3, the brain's capacity for emotional regulation depends on consistent caregiver responsiveness. If parents or primary caregivers fail to respond sensitively and promptly, perhaps due to stress or distraction, the child learns it cannot rely on anyone for safety. As adults, they build emotional distance as a defense. By keeping everyone at arm's length, they believe they can never truly be abandoned. Kazar also emphasizes, when you stop rescuing, the avoidant partner loses their familiar emotional lifeline and feels real loneliness for the first time. Yet that moment is the crucial catalyst for building their own emotional muscles. Much like the child who once wasn't soothed, they now have the opportunity to learn self-regulation and resilience. The expert encourages, be patient with your own fears as well as theirs. When they withdraw, resist the urge to immediately swoop in and fix things. Instead, allow both of you the space to confront your emotions. By understanding the origins of avoidant attachment, you gain the confidence to stand firm and shine your light, rather than chasing. You no longer need to fear their disappearance. Your silence creates the very space they need to discover their capacity for healing. Armed with this scientific insight, the fear of "they will leave" transforms into calm reassurance. You understand that if your avoidant partner genuinely values authentic connection, they will eventually return, no longer playing the chase-retreat game, but building a relationship based on mutual emotional accountability. That is the true destination you're steadfastly moving toward. A love not dependent on rescue, but one in which both grow together from the strength of their inner light. Imagine an infant placed on a small boat amid the vast ocean. Initially, the boat drifts, but the child knows the mother, the primary caregiver, will row over and guide it safely back whenever a wave rises too high. The infant needn't learn balance. It trusts that oar is always near. Yet if the mother is distracted and lets go, the child quickly panics, unsure what to hold on to, and the boat will drift helplessly, lost and fearful. In a relationship with an avoidant partner, when you accept the role of a tugboat constantly chasing and pulling them back, you become that mother rowing for the infant. Every time they withdraw, you adjust your sails to follow, terrified that releasing them will make them vanish. Like the infant's boat, your sense of self loses its balance. You're no longer the captain of your life. You're consumed with keeping the avoidant close. The result is you end up adrift, directionless, and it's you, not them, who panics whenever their emotional storm hits. This feeling is starkly real and startling. You realize you've sacrificed too much, that you are no longer navigating your own course, but simply drifting with every gust of their emotional tempest. You've weakened, your bright inner self dimmed, and instead of a rich, autonomous inner world, you're left only with the chaos of your endless struggle to hold them near. When the tender boat continues to drift without a safe harbor in sight, the child, you discovers that without the mother's oar, the rescuer role, it cannot remain secure. Similarly, only when you relinquish the tugboat role and return to being yourself can you stop depending on their movements. Your own boat can then find its anchor, self-trust, and compel the avoidant partner to learn to row through their own emotional seas. This ocean metaphor vividly illustrates that endlessly chasing an avoidant partner only strips you of your identity, trapping you in anxiety and exhaustion. Abandon the hopeless tugboat and return to your harbor of self-respect, allowing them to discover their ability to steer their own ship. Then, if they genuinely choose growth, they will return not because you have continually rescued them, but because they've learned to navigate life's waters independently. Standing firm in silence, becoming a lighthouse that does not move. This may sound simple, but it demands tremendous courage. When emotional storms arise, you do not sprint after every wave. Instead, you hold your ground, radiating the light of your intrinsic values and inner peace. This approach not only safeguards your own emotions, but also creates the space for both partners to confront themselves. They retreat. You do not chase. They falter. Your light still shines. As Marcus Aurelius advised, don't argue about what you cannot control. Act rightly. Here the message is not passive acceptance, but active, mindful action. You need not debate or argue with an avoidant partner's withdrawal. Simply remain steadfast in preserving your calm. Your consistent light is the most powerful demonstration that you live by principle rather than reaction. In reality, maintaining this silence is no easy feat. You will face the temptation to text back the moment their name appears. You'll hear the inner whispers urging, you must respond, you must clarify, you must rescue. But each time you remind yourself, I am the lighthouse, you reclaim your agency. Silence becomes your compass, not a weapon. Marcus Aurelius emphasized, act without argument. Sometimes silence carries more force than words. By deciding to stop chasing, you send a powerful message. I value myself more than seeking your validation. This declaration asserts that inner peace is not a commodity to be exchanged. Standing firm does not mean giving up on love. It means honoring mutual respect. If your avoidant partner returns, it will be out of genuine longing, not a conditioned reflex. Be brave as Marcus Aurelius. Do not argue with the storm. Shine your own light. When you remain unwavering in the midst of chaos, your avoidant partner sees there is no longer an unconditional lifeline. Your light does not only save you, but also rescues the relationship from the endless chase-retreat cycle. The Be the Lighthouse message is a call to resolve and courage. Hold your silence, honor yourself, and let your light guide both you and the other person if they choose to change course. When two opposing attachment systems, avoidant and anxious, interact, the dynamic transcends mere words or behaviors. It becomes a fierce conflict between two inherent safety maps. An anxious partner requires constant contact, reassurance, and immediate responses to prevent their nervous system from entering alarm mode. Their heart races, cortisol spikes, and the brain signals imminent danger. Conversely, an avoidant partner reacts oppositely. Overwhelmed by closeness, they activate their defense mechanism and withdraw, intensifying your own nervous system stress by forcing you into a perpetual chase. Each time you climb onto that emotional storm boat to rescue them, your nervous system sounds its own alarm. Shared anxiety propels cortisol skyward, leaving you fatigued, sleepless, and unfocused. You become the regulator not only of the avoidance emotions, but of the neural chaos you inadvertently create. Meanwhile, they slip away, free from the responsibility for the turbulence they caused. Your two safety maps collide. You, the anxious type, feel secure with continuous connection, while they, the avoidant type, only feel safe at a distance. When you attempt to erase this distance, you unintentionally invade their peace zone, triggering their fight or flight response. Typically flight, they retreat further and further. You, in turn, experience a profound loss of self. Your pulse pounds, breath quickens, and hands tremble each time a message doesn't arrive immediately. You pour all your energy into keeping them close, even as your own system gasps for rest and replenishment. Understanding this conflict invites empathy for both sides. You can sympathize with the avoidant, who cannot sustain constant closeness, and honor your own anxiety. You need that connection to feel safe. Recognizing these two clashing safety maps is the first step toward realizing that you need not dive into the storm or rescue them. Instead, you can calibrate your interactions so both nervous systems can stabilize. Rather than jumping into the tempest and adding to the chaos, you can stand firm as a lighthouse, casting a steady light, unmoved by each crashing wave. When the avoidance nervous system no longer wields distance as a weapon, they gain the opportunity to experience genuine security. Simultaneously, your anxious nervous system can calm itself, knowing you need not chase any wave to survive. When you try to be the tugboat constantly chasing and pulling them back, you unwittingly place yourself in grave danger. You lose your once bright sense of self. You no longer know what you truly need or want. Your sole focus becomes keeping the avoidant partner close. Each time they withdraw, you hoist your sails and give chase, hoping to calm the emotional storm. Yet in reality, the more you pursue, the wilder the storm, and it is you who sinks into the maelstrom of emotional chaos. By contrast, everything changes when you choose to be the lighthouse. You do not move, you do not chase, rather, you stand firm on unshakable ground. In that steadfast silence, you gradually rediscover yourself. You realize that your value, your convictions, and your inner peace do not lie in rescuing someone else, but in maintaining your principles, mastering your emotions, and living authentically. This transformation demands deep self-reflection. Who am I, truly? What do I need to be happy? Free from the obsession over every incoming message, you gain space to listen to your heart, uncover passions and personal goals long buried. Enlightenment dawns as you recognize that your primary responsibility is to yourself, to nurture your own spirit, strengthen your inner resilience, and only from your own centered wholeness can you genuinely love or support others. When you become a lighthouse, your light guides not only the avoidant partner, but, first and foremost, guides you home. Each moment of silence becomes an affirmation of your worth. You deserve respect and should not have your emotions depleted. Your heart finds a steady rhythm again, and your nervous system relaxes from the strain of that futile chase. The tragedy of the tugboat losing yourself and draining your inner resources makes way for the transformative power of the lighthouse, personal rebirth, and reclaimed autonomy. You turn silence from an ending into the beginning of an inward journey. The very moment you stop chasing the storm, you realize that the harbor of peace was never lost. It has always resided in your own heart. Remember, in your journey with an avoidant partner, you are not the boat chasing the storm. You are the lighthouse steadfastly shining your own light. When you let go of the tugboat role and stand firm as the lighthouse, you protect your inner peace, and create a space for them to learn emotional navigation. The tragedy of endless chasing never leads to a happy harbor. Instead, strategic silence and clear boundaries help you reclaim yourself and ignite hope for a more genuine relationship. Now, the greatest responsibility lies with you. Love yourself enough not to cede emotional power to anyone else, and uphold your intrinsic worth, no matter the challenges. Live as a lighthouse, never battling the waves, but using your light to guide yourself and all lost hearts. If you found this article helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more insights and share it with someone who needs to understand the power of strategic silence. Comment, "I remain," if you're ready to hold on to your inner peace and embark on the journey of becoming yourself a steadfast lighthouse amid life's vast ocean.